Well, hi friends, welcome to KZFR.org's Zephyr Fest. I'm your host and friend in real life, Molly Knight. On this episode, we have programmer Gayle Kimball. We have amazing music from the Real Sarahs. We have our Zephyr Zoom shot with Steve Scarborough of It's Just Jazz. We have our weekly feature. You know we pack this episode with as much as we can, so let's get right to it, Danny boy.
I'm Gayle Kimball, and I do Ask Dr. Gayle, and it's on the second Thursday of each month from 6 to 7 p.m. I love the show because I get to interview people, which is one of my favorite things to do, and people about all kinds of topics. Lately, I've done a Maidu elder talking about their environmental practices. I did a trans couple where both are trans and revealed a lot about gender roles. I've talked with people in happy marriages, activists, environmentalists. Whatever issue is up, I get to ask people about. It's fun. Before COVID, people came in the studio and I had a panel of 3 or 4 or 5 people. But because of COVID, I've been doing Skype interviews, and then people can see them on my YouTube channel. And I get to talk to people all over the world. So Skype has opened the whole world to me in the show. I got involved with community radio first as a listener, and then the Women's Health Center did a show, decided they didn't want to do it anymore. Chris Nelson asked me if I'd fill the slot because she knew I liked to interview. And I really like the idea of community, volunteer. I think it's fabulous that very few people are paid, so it brings in an eclectic, interested group of people. And by the way, I think we need more young and diverse people to be programmers, so I like to put that word out. I think anything that's local, that's governed local, is important because locals know their area. And so it's anything that's grassroots, that comes from the people involved, is more intelligent than someone trying to impose it. What I would really hope is that listeners would realize the importance of community radio and would become underwriters, contributors. It's great to give a certain amount each month or during a pledge drive. So I would hope that people would, if they can't be volunteers on the radio, they can help make it happen with their money. I hope you'll like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel, and donate money at KZFR.org.
Here's the Real Sarahs, recorded live at a KZFR benefit at the Chico Women's Club on September 27th, 2019.
We lived a life of ease, birds singing in the trees, hands digging in the dirt, the wind blowing up my skirt. But then a passerby looked my way and he caught my eye. Skipped a beat, let go a sigh, now my heart needs an alibi. 'Cause I ain't looking for no trouble. I am opening my arms up wide. I want freedom on the double. And I will open my wings and fly. So now I'm going through the motions, treading water in an ocean. Hearts hanging on the line, love like that is hard to find. No matter Hearts will heal, love will grow, guilt and shame off the bridge I throw. 'Cause I ain't looking for no trouble. I am opening my arms up wide. I want freedom on the double. And I will open my wings and fly. That's Jen Rund on the bass. So now that the damage is done and I'm sitting here in the sun, can't help feeling a little sad. I guess I'm mourning the life I had. But life isn't life without freedom, even if I think I need him. Though this change is bittersweet, I gotta get back on my feet. And I ain't looking for no trouble. I am opening my arms up wide. I want freedom on the double. And I will open my wings and fly. Thank you.
KZFR's Zephyr Fest is generously sponsored by Advantage Insurance Services. Independent insurance broker Dave Dalton can provide your insurance needs. Advantage Insurance is proud to support KZFR and can be reached at 342-0540. For a quote or more information, visit AdvantageInsurance.com.
It's time for the Zephyr Zoom Shot, where we feature the people who put the people in people-powered radio.
Hi, I'm Steve Scarborough, and I'm one of the co-hosts of It's Just Jazz. Every Monday afternoon at 2:30, I've been doing the show for about 16 years. I did it 12 years by myself, and then my son joined me. Adam Scarborough was my co-host for about 4 years, and when the pandemic came on, he took a leave of absence for family reasons, and so we restructured the program. And now I'm real happy to be in a rotation with Lisa Boyd and Jake Sprecher. It's 3 different personalities and 3 different record collections, and I love listening to their shows, and it's a fun afternoon. Radio has always been important to me. Ever since I was a kid, I was always sort of fascinated by the intimacy of the medium of radio and how it brings people together, and especially in the late 1960s, I was fortunate enough to live in San Francisco when the birth of underground FM radio was happening. I moved to Butte County 50 years ago, and it was culture shock because there was no radio up here at all. I finally resigned myself to the fact that even though I love the beauty of Butte County and I like the rural lifestyle, that I was just going to have to make some sacrifices and learn to live without things like high quality hashish and high quality FM radio. 25 years later, I discovered KZFR, and what a difference that made. There was real people behind the microphone playing real music. There was that all-important sense of community. You felt a connection with the station, and you felt a sense of community with fellow KZFR listeners. During the last year, we've been all stressed out by the pandemic, and it's really affected the station operations as well. So now more than ever, really as a listener and a supporter of KZFR, it's time to do your part. I urge you to remember how important KZFR is in your life and how important it is to the community as well. The only way really to do what needs to be done right now is go to the website kzfr.org and make a contribution to keeping community radio strong. Thank you very much.
KZFR Zephyr Fest is generously sponsored by Baker's Birkenstock in Chico and Paradise. Baker's Birkenstock, featuring more than 40 brands of footwear, socks, purses, and hats. Baker's Birkenstock has been serving our community for over 40 years at 333 Broadway Street in the heart of downtown Chico, and also in Paradise at 691 First Street. Details on Facebook at birkenstockchico.com and by calling 345-4880.
When I take my walks, I'm looking up a lot at the trees. I see that most people are not looking up at all. And most of the beauty is up there in the sky. And everybody now is not looking at anything because they're on their cell phones. They can't even see their feet. They don't know what their feet look like anymore. My name's Norman Dillinger, Normandillinger. Live now in Chico, was born in Susanville, California. Went all the way through high school living there, then I went to college and moved on. But while I was in high school, I only had one art class, and the instructor happened to mention that I did one painting the whole high school career there, and it was just a small little watercolor thing, but the instructor said I might have talent, or something to that effect anyway. It's surprising how just one little sentence can guide a young person, so you really got to be careful what you tell young people. I majored in engineering at the University of Nevada, and I had two geniuses for roommates, so I really felt that I wasn't getting it. So, I just didn't have an aptitude for engineering, so that didn't work out that well. I went into service from the University of Nevada. I went into service for 2 years, joined the Army for 2 years. So I was stationed in Hawaii. I had a high school friend that got into the construction business, so he got me a job as a construction grade setter with the operating engineer down Vallejo. So I moved to Vallejo. That's a great job because, well, another thing people should do is always get a job with a union. Forget this managerial stuff.
Now, what does a construction grade setter do?
Well, he sets the grades on the slopes and sees that things are put in the right place at the right elevation. That's what it is mainly. So it wasn't really a hard job, and it was interesting. And like I say, it paid well, so that worked out good. I went to the Chico State University. And there I started out majoring in accounting, and discovered that I'm not an accountant either. So now I'm not an engineer, not an accountant. And so I'm majoring in marketing, since that's the simplest thing you can major in and get a degree. So getting that degree, though, it took me 5 years of college, with 2 at the University of Nevada and then at Chico State. So.
Did you take art
Well, I
classes?
took as many art classes as I could, and as whenever I had an open space, I took art classes. And I probably got the equivalent to an AA degree in art or something. I went to California College of Arts and Crafts for 1 year, too. That was after I came out of Reading. My college roommate there recommended it, so I decided I'd do that for 1 year. So it's a private college, costs quite a bit of money, so I went down there for a year, and all the instructors were artists. So that doesn't necessarily make a good instructor. Some of them wouldn't show up for class. One of them gave me an A in a painting class, and I don't remember one remark he made about my paintings. Another one wanted to pass on the class one week because he wanted to go see the Black Panthers meeting. So the whole thing, I think I would have been just as well off, probably better off if I would have hired a model and just painted that model. Once you can paint the human figure, you can paint anything. But it wasn't really a waste of money. I got to the city and I enjoyed it there. So, and Berkeley, Oakland were right there. I was right on the border, so that was interesting. So it was not wasting money, but I don't think, well, I did learn how to get the proportions of the figure correct, but even now I still get it wrong because everybody had the legs too short and just out of proportion when they start. And all that takes is practice. So all these people say they can't do art, they just haven't practiced. But also I was a house painter, a sign painter, and I painted apartments for a couple of landladies, or landlady and landlords. And so I got into that way and did a few paintings that way, and then started doing paintings more. But the only reason I'm still in art is my uncle was an upholsterer in Alturas, California. So him and his wife, that's all they did up there for his full career. And he died about 6 months before he was 90 or something. So he saved a lot of money and he left it to me and my brother because he didn't have any children. So I'm still living off part of that money. So that's one of the reasons that I'm able to afford my layback style. Otherwise, I'd probably be struggling like every other artist. I still don't think artists can make a living at this. You got to have a story behind each painting, and then it might work. Or you got to be in the right spot, like these people that work for the college. If they're an artist, they're going to have all this college crowd to sell to. But otherwise, I run in the wrong crowd. I don't run in the wealthy crowd, and that's what you need for art. So, smartest thing I've ever done is got into real estate because I bought a house, rented it, sold it, bought a triplex over here on Humboldt Avenue, sold that, and then bought the house I live in now. But the house I live in now, I bought in the early 70s, and the owner carried the paper, $12,500. And I was looking at Zillow last week, it's about $196,000.
Has anybody else ever asked you to do windows?
Yes.
Really?
I don't do windows.
You don't? Are you joking?
No. You've heard some wives say I don't do. Well, I don't do windows. No, I can't duplicate it. Like my giraffes up there, I tried to duplicate it once. Doesn't work. You can't duplicate art. It's really hard, especially on that surface. And I'm painting with acrylics right on the glass. Then I go back in and scratch it with just an old worn out pair of scissors, something, just a small edge there. And it gives you more light in here, and a little texture to the painting. But it works great, holds up, except outside. I've got some out on my fence there that are falling apart, and some of them are actually cracking because they have such a difference in temperature between the winter and the summer, and they're out there all the time. So, I think it just, the expansion and contraction just cause them to crack. But I haven't had trouble with the windows in the house at all. Of course, they're mainly shaded too, so. But they work good, look like stained glass, and they're so much more simple. And you can't cut your fingers on your glass cutter or anything else.
Well, and to your goal, I look at them and they make me happy.
Oh, that's great, yeah. Well, the three on the bottom of my living room wall there are Alphonse Mucha takeoffs. So he used to be this poster artist for famous dancer Isadora Duncan. Yeah, well, he was the artist that did all the posters. And he did some great Art Nouveau art. You really got to check it out. Because I went to Reno once and saw some of the originals too. And they were great. The only fabric I've done is I've done a little jacket there, did the trim on it, but it's the hats that I do. And they're good, solid surface there, and that's the only reason. And none of that people like them, and they got a little message. You got a peace symbol on there. I guess one I even got free hugs up there. They probably can't read it, but I want them to get close before they hug me, so it's not too legible.
You also have a great affinity for all sorts of creatures, living creatures.
Oh, yeah. Well, I like the animals, yeah. Well, especially the tiger, you see, because they got a great design element to them, and they're easy to do. Try to do a lion, it's difficult, it's all one color, and it's just blah. Well, you got to have the proportions right and everything else. So the tiger I love, because there you can get into all kinds of design elements. I'm not trying to tell stories with my art. I'm trying to depict the brighter side of life. I just want to create something that's entertaining, enjoyable, and something that I'm impressed by it when I'm making it, and I'm hoping someone's impressed by it when they see it. So, but it's all common things. There's also things that I don't have in my life. Beautiful women, all these animals, places I don't go, and then all the surreal art too. But
it allows you to have an experience that you're kind of longing for.
Yep. The surreal ones are really popular with the artists and with other people too. And it seems like I only did them one winter where I got into this surreal thing, and you could actually start with a blind draw, anything to get it started, and then you start adding figures and animals and stuff. But those are much more popular than just the standard image thing. So one thing about my art is I've quit doing the larger ones. All the 12 by 24 or larger, I'm not doing it anymore. And supply and demand now should say that my values of my art is going up. Of course, the market has not gone up. Is the only problem with that. But, because any more of these aren't being created. So I suggest people get in while they're still around, because they're not going to be around. And if you like them now, you better buy them now and spend big bucks on them. Oh, forget the big bucks. I'll take a little bit.
How do you come up with an idea every morning? I mean, how do you start? You start with a piece of paper every day. How do you fill it?
Well, first of all, I don't fill it in one day, but I just go on my computer, find images, and then just interpret the images to get started. And then I start throwing images together. And my problem is now I throw so many images together that, and then fill in the blanks and don't leave any bare space. That works better if you some negative space, if you have leave some negative space. But the key now is knowing when to stop. And I haven't learned that yet. Maybe when I'm 90, I'll know how to stop or when to stop. I've learned some things with the teaching, but mainly it's doing it. And then now, so you have so many guides on the web where you can see good art. You can see what they did right and what they did wrong, and why it works. But you probably won't analyze it that well, but you can still see good art and then try to duplicate that.
Well, you're 82 at the time of the filming, and you are very active on the web. Can you talk a little bit about that? I think that's great that you really, that's kind of like another part of your community.
Well, I consider my art one of my art forms too, because I'm putting up great photos on there of other people's art, other people's photos. And plus, whenever I take a walk, I take my camera with me, so I'm filming it and then putting it back on the web. So it gets a lot of these people that are homebred to go on the walks with me. So, and that's good. And not only that, I'm finding all these uplifting statements by all these great people like Wayne Dyer, Leo Buscaglia, and all this stuff. So that's great. It's just a bright way for me to start a day. So I spend a couple hours in the morning, every morning, just doing it. I enjoy it, and hopefully a few other people. And I don't have many real friends on Facebook, but I got about 1,800 friends. So there are people out there enjoying it. So anyway, I think it's constructive, but I am addicted.
What a great episode, jam-packed with so much fun. Until next time, go to our YouTube page, like, share, subscribe, show us some love. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you also to Banana Grape Stomp for their amazing archives. Also to our tireless programmers, our generous underwriters, and you, the listeners, the people who put the people in people-powered radio. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time, friends.